Hello everybody, and we're back with the tutorial, and I've got some exciting news. This is tutorial number 2 about the UV mapping, and just today, so on the Friday, I just found out something really helpful about UV maps and stuff that I will show you in a bit. I want to do some reconsideration from last time, something that someone wrote in the comments. Obviously I have the flip texture component, which I completely ignored, and last time we had the problem that our textures were kind of mirrored in the wrong way, and if that happens, you can use the flip horizontally and flip vertically function to make the make all the places go in the right direction. So in case it doesn't work, or in case it is mirrored, you can see if flipping or unflipping the texture helps in any way. So much for last time. Today I want to show you mainly how to cut up a texture so you can texture your objects yourself, and I will show you what shading domains are for, because I found out today. Okay, so we have the table, and what we want is the upper space of the table, to have a solid texture, so that this one is one texture and we don't have some weird cut-ups in between that look weird. And we also want to have this optimized to work with the UV view. And again, as you can see, I forgot to load the program, so I'll do that now. What we are going to use today is, in the UV map, the unfoldability, the unfold tool again. But first we are going to cut up the whole table. So if I take the table, if I use the unfold ability, you see that the table is in some kind of mangled mess. Let me just grab this, and yeah, this is not really a texture I can work with in any way. Doesn't matter if I how I would try to salvage this. It's just a complete mess. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut up the table into sortable pieces that we can use to make a better UV map. And it will also show you what what I try to, or what I think is important in this. Okay, so we're grabbing the edges, and I'm going to grab a few edges on the underside of my table right here, as you can see, underside of my table. And I'll show you first before I explain this. This might be a bit complicated, but bear with me here, please. I'm going to also grab the edges where the leg connects to the table. Yeah, again, holding shift will let you select these edges. Okay, got the edges so far. Now I'm going to press Alt B or use the unfold tool. And as you can see now, the app, the software already used the selected or the marked edges to make them seam. So if I press unfold now, I get some kind of, yeah, recognizable shapes here, at least. So far so good. we need a few more of these. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a few edges, the inside of the table legs basically, so the one side that we usually do not see in renders. This is usually a very good point to make these seams. Pressing Alt B again for the unfold button. Let me yeah, you can see whatever I'm doing up there. Okay, unfold. Did he? Okay, yeah, he did. Okay, so now we have a lot of spaces here, and I will show you what we did really quickly. We divided this whole thing into a few areas that we can now work with. This is most of the table platform, except for the few faces in the middle. This would be those. And I'm going to separate those now. These are obviously the 4 legs. What I can also do, just to demonstrate, can also mark this. I have one area too many, so I can separate these legs here. Okay, now I have everything separated. So what I did with these seams is I separated this into smaller parts that I actually get easier onto a 2D view. And this one is pretty good so far, because what we want to do now is we want to get this into a nice shape, and this is something that will take time. What I usually do is I start mostly in the middle of this, choose an edge, press L to have the whole edge, okay, and then I'm using the scale tool to actually pull these into shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of these edges and make this into a nice, well-working array of sorts. Okay, yeah, this doesn't work. It does work, my bad. But what doesn't work is that if I select the whole thing, obviously selects sizes from another part of this model. So yeah, the next thing is actually just boringly put all of this into shape, so you have a nice evened out shape here. And the more or the longer you work on this, the more you will see it actually come into the shape you have on the other side. Actually, okay, no, this isn't working. Okay, and this is kind of tricky because, as you can see now, I have to see how these triangles work, what is what. What you don't want is the lines to cross. This is basically the ultimate version of Ghostbusters, where you don't want the lines to cross. Because you know what, I'm gonna show you. Okay, so we have our UV view. We say this is a new map. We call it table. We give it a texture image, which is a simple one. And we don't see much. Okay, might have to use another one. Or why not this one? Okay. Now if I resize this, you can see that some of the parts are showing here. So you can see that a little bit of red and some other weird stuff is showing. And what we're going to do is we are going to fit all of this, more or less, into a nice and even shape. And this is something what, so I will do this, and I will just quicken this a bit, because this is usually something that takes a lot of time. Okay. So far we just put this into shape, and as you can see, the whole thing looks a bit weird, because the shapes that we have here are not in the same relative size as they are on the table. So this is the next thing that we are going to grab. These are relatively short. I mean, if you look, the whole thing is a bit out of proportion. So now we are getting closer to the actual table shape. So at least somewhat. And the size of our table, or the side of our table, actually has a lot of really small areas, so we are going to emulate that by making these areas smaller as well. Basically what we are trying to do is oh boy. Yeah, and this is something that happens as well. So yeah, this is a lot of handwork in some cases. Handwork, handcraft, whatever. This is a thing that just takes a lot of time. But if done right, you actually get really cool results, I am willing to say. And as you can also see, this is not in the middle, so yeah, now we are actually okay. we are getting somewhere. Okay. Let me just use this one again. Okay. You can see that some of the texture now is sitting on our table. If I move this, you can see that the color of the table moves as well. Yeah, we do the same for the legs, obviously. This will take yeah, more time. And legs are probably a bit easier because we can more or less you see this a lot with me actually, that I kind of just do this on the fly or on the flyby, more or less simplistic. Because yeah, this takes a lot of time, and also I'm not going to show you the whole width of my textures, because most of those I use are just plain monocolored bitmaps or PNGs, so it's actually not that complex, and I can mostly just throw a very simple UV map on the model without giving too much of a thought to this. So if this is a bit to the side, it doesn't really matter. What you can also do, in case you run out of space, is one of two things. And this is what I will conclude the video for today with. We can put this on top of each other. Yeah, problem is now if you want to fix anything here, if you want to fix something in UV, you will have a hell of a lot of time to actually select the stuff you want. So I do not recommend doing this. Yeah, as you can see, I'm running out of space here. So yeah, this leg now has no texture because it's outside of the texture boundary, whatever. What I'm going to show you is what shading domains do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the front view. I'm going to select, hopefully, all the faces of the legs, and then I'm going to make a new shading domain. I'm going to set those faces to the shading domain. I'm going to rename this into legs. Okay. And I'm going to change the material to table. So what I did is I subdivided the whole thing, the whole texture basically, into two. I'm also going to make a new shading domain where all the stuff from the table plate is. I'm going to rename this plate. I'm going to change the material to table, and now everything is in order so far. But the thing is, if I do this now, I can easier select my faces, and I can also, for example, give the legs a new material and just say, okay, I want the legs to be pink, because why not? And this is how you can apply multiple textures to one object, which again I found out today by trying. Yay! I actually thought about trying this for a few weeks, but I was scared it wasn't working, so I just did today. Okay, that concludes UV maps in the detail. Yeah. Do with that what you will. So you actually have all of these on the same sheet. As you can see, you have the table and you have the plate on the same, but you have different texture images. So if you want to work on something, I suggest moving this away, working on the plate however you want, and then moving these back into space, going to plate, moving these out of the way, and yeah. Okay, video is much longer than I wanted to. I hope this helps you, and see you guys in the next one.